মা আমরা কোথায়?
Colombo.
What is up, world of YouTube? Welcome to another exciting video on my channel. My name is Sifat, and today we'll be looking back at my trip from Sri Lanka from June of 2018. This was by far one of the most special trips of my life for many reasons. So let's dive right into it.
Hyderabadi mutton.
So one of my favorite ways to explore a new city is to just walk around and Google what the top things to do there are. We first walked around the Independence Square, and only a short drive away was the house of the late great architect Geoffrey Bawa. He's one of the most influential architects in the world. Then we stumbled upon Mom's favorite place in Colombo, the Galle Face Beach. It is a great walk with the wind in your face, and also don't forget to try the spicy pineapple. Day 2, and we started our journey from Petta Market. Petta is an older part of Colombo. One of the coolest things that I came across there, besides the shopping, was the Red Mosque. Hey guys, I'm on the top floor of a 110-year-old mosque. This is what the view is like. Check it out. Then we went down to see the famous Gangaramaya temple. Bored. We walked around a little bit more and decided to go back to Galle Face Beach because my mom just loved that place. This was actually the day right before Eid al-Fitr, so one of the coolest and cutest things that we saw there were a bunch of Muslim families trying to look for the moon while having iftar or breaking their fast. Then we had dinner at the Dutch Hospital area, which is a really old hospital building from the Dutch colonial era, which has now been transformed into a plaza of bars, shops, and restaurants. Day 3, and we need to pause for this one because this is one of the most special days of my life. So, my dad was finally able to fly in from Dhaka, which meant that for the first time in 9 years, myself, my mom, and my dad were on holiday together. This was also the first time that I got both my parents out of the country for a holiday with my own money. Ever since I was a kid, this was a massive dream of mine, and it was finally coming true. So then, since my dad was here, I did what I do best. I went off solo for the next 3 days. But wait for it, I didn't abandon them. I actually got them a car with an English-speaking driver and itinerary down the west coast of Sri Lanka all the way down to the beach city of Galle. Ding! First off, I went from Colombo and took a train to Kandy. The train was about 5 hours long and I took second class, which meant that you could hang out outside the windows and the doors. Even though it was very scenic, let's just say this was my second most favorite train ride of this trip. In Kandy, I stayed at the Clock in Kandy hostel, which was one of the coolest hostels I've actually ever stayed in. They have these pods on the rooftop that you can rent out and stay in. Hostels are a great way to meet people, and I did. So within the first hour that I was there, I rounded up the troops and went to get some local food. Then we enjoyed a drink at the Slightly Chilled Lounge. We didn't end up doing too much, but tuk-tuk rides around the lake in Kandy was awesome. Where are we, Olga?
In the tuk-tuk.
In the tuk-tuk. What's happening in the tuk-tuk, Dario? Even though I really enjoyed the vibe of Kandy, I was only there for about 12 hours. This meant I couldn't really spend any time going to the touristy places, but I still had fun. Now next up was one of my favorite experiences from all my travels, the train ride from Kandy to Ella. This ride is hugely regarded as the most scenic train ride in the world, and it did not disappoint. It was a 7-hour train ride and I had a book with me with the intention of finishing most of it. To be honest, I read only one page because I could not stop looking out the window at the scenery. The cool thing about these trains are they let you hang out on the doors, so tourists are literally taking turns trying to take pictures at the doors. After a 7-hour train ride, which literally felt like 30 minutes only, we arrived in the beautiful town of Ella. So in Ella, I stayed at the River Splendor Homestay, and one of the features of this place is they have their own private waterfall. When I first reached, I actually didn't know that they had this, and the owner came up to me and said, "Hey, sorry man, your room isn't ready yet, but hey, if you want to take a shower, just follow me down to the waterfall." And I was like, "What?" And they actually had a waterfall in the backyard. How cool is that? Then after my epic shower, I went off to hunt for the famous Nine Arches Bridge. This bridge was built in the colonial era and is straight out of Harry Potter. The cool thing is, you can actually walk the tracks and no one has a problem with it. If you're lucky enough like we were, you could see the train. Literally everyone I met on the train to Ella was there taking photos. Alright, this is Nora and this is somewhere in Ella, in Sri Lanka.
It's amazing.
And what are we doing?
We're walking. Amazing.
Amazing.
Most beautiful thing ever.
The most beautiful thing ever. Next morning I woke up super early to go watch the sunrise at Little Adams Peak. Little Adams Peak is only about a half an hour's hike up, but the views are gorgeous. Sadly, this was also my last day in Ella, so I hopped on one of the local buses and went down south to a town called Mathura, where I'd meet my parents. These local buses aren't the most comfortable, but they're a lot of fun. Hello. So finally, after 3 days, I reunited with my parents in Mathura and we drove to Galle. The next day we went and explored the old Galle Dutch fort. It is a very nice day out and the cobbled streets there are straight out of Europe. After that, we celebrated our last day by watching the sunset at Vijaya Beach. Now, one thing I have to let you guys know is my parents are petrified of the water. As we watched the sunset from Galle, the sun also set on our little Sri Lanka trip. In only a week, I've fallen in love with Sri Lanka and I definitely want to go back again. So for this trip, I spent about 200,000 taka, but I know if I had planned a little bit beforehand, I could have spent a little bit less. Also, we spent a little bit more because my parents were with me. In fact, if I did this trip solo, I'd probably have spent about 80,000 taka maximum. Everything in Sri Lanka is very, very cheap. People are super friendly and most of them speak pretty good English, so you won't have any trouble getting around. Sri Lanka is an amazing country with lots to do, lots to see, and very, very friendly people. What you may have seen this year on the news is not what describes Sri Lanka. It is probably still my favorite country that I've visited in Southeast Asia, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who's watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram for more updates on my upcoming travels. So as I mentioned in my last video, I still have a lot of footage from all my travels which I want to edit and throw up on YouTube for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Please make sure you like this video and share it with as many people as possible, and I'd also love it if you could hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the next adventures. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. I will follow up with you guys soon with a brand new video. Until then, peace.